Hey guys, it's Laura, and I'm going to make a little video to show you all of my travel purchasing secrets that I use. Because people are always asking me, hey, how do you get such great deals when you travel? Or sometimes people just straight up, they're like, hey, you're a teacher, your husband used to be a teacher. How have you afforded to travel as much and as often as you do? Okay, so a couple things I need to tell you. First of all, you need to be flexible. What I mean by that is this. When you have a specific date that you can travel, you probably shouldn't also have a specific place. Now, we all have our dream list, right? There's, 5, 6, 7 places that we really would like to go sometime. That's what you need to have, or even be willing to go to places that aren't necessarily even on the dream list when they prefer. That said, that doesn't mean you have to go on trips that you are not interested in. There's been a really cheap flight to Manchester all winter long, and I've been really tempted to buy it because it was direct flight and was like 500 bucks. But I just didn't want to go to Manchester, so I just held on tight. And that brings me to my second thing. If you are serious about wanting to take awesome vacations for really inexpensive, you need to be consistent in looking for them. I have been shopping for the spring break trip that I just purchased this morning before I went to work since I don't know, like at least a couple of months since school started, probably. So it's been over 9, 10 weeks. So I've checked every single day this website, and I've looked at it, and I've looked every day. It takes 10, 15 minutes every day of my time, but it has been worth it because this morning I booked round trip to Italy, $575 a person. The third thing is you might need to reevaluate how you value your time. I know a lot of people who don't usually go places and they say they want to go places. And when I start talking to them, one of their big holdups is like, oh, well, we won't do a layover that's more than 2 hours, or, we won't go do more than one layover per flight. Now, look, I don't like doing those things either. And I try really hard to be patient and wait for something that comes that I can live with. We all have our tolerances. I'm not trying to say that to get to Europe, you should be flying on a 36-hour flight. I don't do that. But take into consideration something. Be honest with yourself. Figure out how much money you actually bring home per hour. I'll tell you, I'm a teacher. I figured it out. After taxes and insurance and all that, I'm bringing home about $15 an hour. So if I take my handy dandy little calculator and I multiply $15 times 8, that's $120 a day to bring home that I can spend. So every time I make a purchase, and this is also my key to being frugal in life, every time I make a purchase or every time I'm making a decision, is that extra 2 or 3 hours in a layover or having to go to one extra stop, is it going to save me way more than $120? Because if it is, think of it as a day of your life. Yes, that $120 that I saved me from working an extra day of my life. Think about it. So when I'm saving $400, $1,000, especially when you're buying tickets for multiple people, if you're saving, say, $200 per ticket times 3, that's $600. How many days of my life is 600, is 600, right? Into 120, that's 5 days of my life. That's an entire work week. So is it worth it for my family and I to sit at an airport for 3 extra hours somewhere? Yeah. If it means that I don't have to work 5 extra days, it is. Okay, that said, let me show you the nitty-gritty of my actual search strategies. Okay, here we go. I go from Houston to everywhere. Where did that go? Okay, so we go from Houston to everywhere. And then you can enter in the specific dates if you want to, but I never do. And I'll show you why. I search the whole month at a time. And then I click search flights. Let me give you a little tip. If you're an American and you want to go to Asia or to Europe, the best time for you to go is during Thanksgiving and you're on a school schedule. It's even better if you're not on a school schedule. But if you're on a school schedule, the best times to go are during Thanksgiving and spring break, because those are not international holidays. Christmas and July are internationally taken off. So you don't want to go then. All right, that said, you are going to have a list of places you can go. And I haven't pre-done this. I have no idea what's going to pop up. I haven't looked at it since before I went to work today and bought my ticket. So I'm going to start looking. I'm looking, do I want to go to Peru? And Peru might be okay. I'm going to keep looking. None of these places are like getting me too excited. Ireland, 505, that's cool. Hong Kong, I was just there, $506. Yes, that's exciting, except for I was just there. Spain for $520, that was not there this morning. I am now super interested. So I'm going to click it. Okay, Madrid, yes, I want to go to Madrid for $520. You bet I do. Okay, so now, and this is the reason that I searched for the whole month. Let's say that I would have searched saying that I wanted to leave on Friday the 10th and come back on the 19th. That's $1,000 a person. But if I flex just a little bit and I leave on Monday and come back it looks like Sunday, that's $520. So if we were doing 3 people, that's $1,500 I just saved. Okay, and making $120 a day, or bringing home $120 a day, is that worth it for me to just wait a little bit? Yes, it's worth it for me. That's a whole extra trip in savings. Okay, so I'm going to show flights and I'm going to check it out, see if it's tolerable, see if it's an airline that I'll get on. You can absolutely use Skyscanner for domestic flights too. I usually don't, and I'll tell you why. My husband will not get on Spirit Airlines, and not all the time, but a great deal of the time, Spirit Airlines is the cheapest, and it's annoying because it's like Spirit Airlines is $52 and the next one up is like $500. So I just don't do it, just because I wish there was a way to like filter out Spirit. If I could do that, then, oh look, maybe there is a way to filter out Spirit. I've never done that. Okay, well anyway, before I search, I mean, just to always set it to where it never search Spirit. I may have to play with that more. But anyway, I digress. Now we are looking at $487 round trip airfare to Spain for spring break. Okay, this is, these layovers, 22 hours, 25 hours. Those are not super, but for $540, $487, I'm definitely willing to look at it. Because sometimes something really cool will happen is you'll get like a layover and you get like a bonus city. So I'm going to go ahead and between these two, this one's more likely to have the overnight because it only has 1 stop, and this is a shorter flight. So I'm going to select it and look at it. And then I'm going to click down and see what it is. Okay, so on the way there we have 2 fairly short layovers, but not so short you're worried about missing your connection. So I would say this is tolerable, especially considering the money. And here you've got looks like oh, that's pretty nice. You have an evening in London, and then you've got to be back pretty early in the morning. That's actually really cool because you would be able, by the time you get through customs and all of that, you'd be in London by like 4 o'clock on, a weekend day, Sunday. So you would have an evening in London for no extra money. You're going to Spain for almost nothing. You get an extra night in London. Wow, I would buy this ticket, honestly. And I didn't pre-do this. I was just really excited about the ticket that I bought this morning to Italy for 575 round trip. This is a better deal. Except for I actually did really want to go to Italy, so I'm still excited about it. But man, $487 and you get an overnight in London. Okay, so you may be worried about that overnight in London. Let me tell you this little tidbit about airports in Europe. Um, Now, obviously, airports around the world have hotels near them with airport shuttles, but some of them in Europe, and I know London Heathrow, as a matter of fact, has an airport a hotel in the airport. And it's like $100 a night. It's super small. It's like teeny tiny. But if you can stay in the airport and not have to worry about, public transportation, although London does have early public transportation, I've looked at that too, but some cities don't. So you can stay a lot of times actually literally in the airport for not that much money. And say there were three of us going, it would be $1,461. Even adding that extra $100 to the cost for the hotel, it's still a phenomenal deal. And you get an extra bonus. You get to be in London. That's cool. So, what I wanted to say is don't always immediately jump away from these super long flights, especially if there's just one stop. You may get like a little mini baby bonus vacation out of the deal. So, if I were wanting to go to Madrid, if Madrid were on my, top 10 acceptable, places I'd be interested in going in my life, or 15 or how many ever, maybe you'd go anywhere. This is a ticket I would buy. It's a reputable airline. You're flying at night, which is nice on the way there. I would buy this ticket. This is a good deal. I hope somebody sees this today and buys it. Okay, that said, I want to be so clear about something. When you're shopping for airfare, be ready to buy airfare when you see it. Had I not bought airfare this morning, it looks like British Airways is having a big sale this moment because I'm also flying on British Airways. If I had not this morning purchased something, I may well have bought this. But let me tell you why. I purchased that British airfare, $575 round trip per person to Italy. One of my very best friends called me up and said, "Hey, GL, I'm coming with you. What's the details?" And you know what? Like within 12 hours, the airfare is now $1,200 a person. So it more than doubled within the day. Airfare fluctuates. So when you see something you want and you're ready to go, you need to be able to hop on it then. Now that doesn't mean nothing's ever going to come on sale. I have missed flights. There have been many, many flights that I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to research it. I'm going to learn more about the city. I'm going to make sure I can get connections, blah, blah, blah. And in the process, missed them. I just chalk it up to it wasn't meant to be and, something else will come up. There will always be another flight. So don't beat yourself up over it too much. But if you see something you want at a time that you want it, buy it. Because I've been looking every single day for a year and I've never seen anything like that to Spain before, ever. So that's a great deal. Okay, so now I'm going to show you on Southwest Airlines what I do. Okay, so like I told you, you can do the United States thing too, but I just get so annoyed by Spirit, I don't even mess with it. The other reason I'm kind of a Southwest loyalist, I think in the last 10 years, domestically, I've flown not Southwest Airlines one time. And it was because it was a last minute purchase and it literally saved us like $1,000 to fly one way, not on Southwest Airlines, for my father-in-law's end of life. And so we flew not Southwest. And I'll tell you why I'm so loyal to Southwest. First of all, because when I do compare, after you add baggage, and since we have a young child, although we're able to pack much more lightly than we've been packing before, but we're not super light packers. I am a little bit of a worrywart in life, so I always pack for like lots of contingencies. And I have a kid. And when you have a kid, you're just not that much of a light packer. For the first time, we're getting ourselves back down into one suitcase in 5 years. She's on 5.5 years, I guess. The second reason, so you get 2 free bags with Southwest per person, and that saves a ton of money. The second reason is because if you need to change your plans for any reason, if you need to change your plans 100 times, you can for free. All you do is you put your money on hold and you have 1 year from the date of purchase to change where you're going. We're going skiing not very long on some credit that we bought last April, and something came up last second. We weren't able to go on the trip. It didn't cost us anything. It was amazing. And so now we're just transferring it to another trip. It's no big deal. I love them for that. Other people charge like $100 change fee, $250 change fees. You know, I'm not even paying $250 for a ticket. So, but that doesn't mean I want to lose it. I definitely don't. So I adore Southwest for that reason. That's why they get my money almost every time. Okay, so here is the way I search Southwest. Most of the time I go straight to the map search, and I'll show you why. They have this handy dandy little slider thing. Okay, so I'm going from Houston, and I can leave this blank, which is what I want, because I don't know where I want to go. I want to go somewhere that's cheap and that I'm interested in. That doesn't mean that I want to go to Omaha. I don't care if it's $50 round trip. I just don't really, no offense to anyone from Omaha, that's just not my #1 place that I would want to spend some time. Okay, I'm going to change this to round trip, and then I'm going to change the dates. All right, so I'm going to just change it to some random weekend. Let's say we want to go in the end of April, this weekend, the 21st. Okay, I didn't change the right one, sorry. We want to go the 21st through the 24th. Okay, one tip about Southwest Airlines is not always, but often, the cheapest airfare is the last airfare of the day, which is actually really convenient because you don't have to miss a day of work, and you're already there on the morning that you would be normally traveling. You might be a little tired, but you're there, and that's really nice. And you're like, yeah, but then you have to pay for a hotel. Well, it depends on how much money you save on your flight and how many tickets you have to buy. Most of the time these days I'm buying 3 tickets. So if I'm saving $100 per ticket times 3, that's $300. I myself don't stay in $300 a night hotel rooms, so I'm still coming out ahead, and I'm already there. So that's something to consider, is to search for the night before you really normally or would think about traveling on Southwest. Okay, so here's what I love. I'm not flying anywhere for $552 unless it's out of the country. So I use the slider and like set it at like say 253. And then here are my choices that weekend. I can go to New York. New York might be fun. Okay, I like New York. Milwaukee, probably not going to Milwaukee. Atlanta, it'd have to be cheaper for me to go to Atlanta, but I do like Atlanta. Memphis, it'd have to be cheaper, but I haven't been there since I was a kid, so I might be interested. All right, of these, if I had to choose one, Denver can be cheaper than that. And it's not I wouldn't do that. So of these, the only one I would consider is New York, and that's still a bit high. I really prefer to stay under $200. So what I would do is I would just change dates. I'd say, okay, well, maybe not then, maybe this weekend. I think that's a holiday weekend, I don't know though. Slide it down to my $253 threshold. Now I can go to the DC area, DC round trip for less than 200, like that. Chicago, Milwaukee, Omaha. Hit up Disney. Anytime you can go to Disney is a good day. Anyway, so it shows you where you can go, what your choices are based on the amount of money that you're willing to spend and on the dates. There's another way to shop this, and this is more if you want to go somewhere specific, but you're more flexible with dates. And I use this when I go to visit my brother and sister-in-law in Portland. I don't like to spend, like I said, more than $200, $250 per ticket round trip anywhere I go. However, because I love my in-laws so, so much, I often, almost always, have to make exceptions for them because Portland's just expensive to fly to. So what I do is I go back to the Southwest Airlines website and I then change it to flexible date search. And I'm going from Houston. And here you have to enter in a specific airport. You can't just do whatever. And let's say I want to go sometime in, I don't know, let's say I want to go in December. Maybe there'll be some super sale for Christmas. Not holding my breath, but I'll look. Okay, so I'm going to look. And actually, it could be a lot worse. So if I really, really wanted to go sometime in December, actually, that's really amazing. I could go for a weekend here, Friday the 9th, and come back the 12th. Let's see what time those flights are and how direct or not they are. That actually looks pretty good. Now, see, I'd be a lot happier here if there was a late flight that I didn't have to miss work for. But the one nice thing is about this $124, it's nonstop and I'd be there by 11:30. I wonder what would happen if I changed to Saturday. It went way up in price. I don't know if that's worth missing a day of work, but look, I could take a half day though and leave at 12:30. That could work. Okay, so then when I come back, I'm going to come back on, whatever flight. I want to get on this nonstop flight and be back home by 9:30. That works for me. I'm going to continue. It's going to be a total of $767.88. Okay, that said, that's a really great deal. It's a total of $255.96 to Portland, which is really, really good for Portland. It would mean, being gone from work, so I'm not really doing it, but that is how I do it. Anyway, I don't have any domestic flights that I'm really shopping for right this second, so that's what I would do if I were, though. All right. Anyway, I hope this gave you some insight on my tips and tricks and why I do what I do and how I search. And if you have tips or tricks that I don't know about, please make sure that you share them with me because I certainly don't know everything. And I always love learning more. And I'm trying to hit the stop button, but it's not letting me. So go ahead and just stop now. There we go. All right, bye.